Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of FoolCraft, and that was a pretty amazing intro, wasn't it? I do say I quite liked it myself. That popped into my head about a few minutes right before I was going to start recording. I don't know why I thought it'd be cool to just drop in from above and see the base, but it definitely was a cool idea, right? And I am pumped for this episode because you can see there's a little something going on around us here. I've had this brilliant idea to get the shape placed down first. I've never done this before, as far as I can remember, but it crossed my mind that maybe building this fortress, which we're going to build this episode, or at least some of it, because we tore down the old one in the last episode, I figured it would be a good idea to get the shape in first, and I think it's going to be so much easier now, because I've got loads of ideas for what we're going to put on the walls, the details, all that kind of cool stuff. And yet the shape is already here, which makes it feel a lot easier. Now at the moment, the entire thing is pretty symmetrical, and I think we need to change that up. So on the inside area, we're going to have a few more things around here. Is it me or are my frames dropping again? They are dropping ever so slightly. I've been noticing that this area is getting a little bit laggy, and it's probably because we've got tons and tons of stuff going on in this area. But anyway, that's one of the things we'll be doing in today's episode, and I'm looking forward to starting that. I do want to show you though, once again, the wasteland has been expanded on. Look at this around here. Just in various areas I've sort of pushed out, mainly in this direction. It now expands in that direction a lot more. And we have some sort of slime infestation thing going on here. I feel like we need to do something with that. These guys, they drop loot bags, don't they? Maybe we can build some sort of obelisk farm in the future and zap them all into a hole of death and take the loot bags from them. Yeah, it looks like I missed a block over here. Let's mine that quickly. I got something to show you, okay? We need to press J. Oh, and that thing! I totally forgot about it. Look! The floating cactus. We need to build some sort of thing around this without ever touching that cactus, because I want that to stay there. That also reminds me of yet another thing. There are these little lava pools around the place, and I think it would be a really cool idea, especially with this one over here, to build up some stone underneath it, so it's like a little, I don't know, like hand of lava coming. What if we were to give it some fingers, you know? Like imagine it as a hand floating out of the ground with lava in it. Look pretty cool. Anyway, distractions. I'm getting so distracted right now. We're going to press J. We're going to look at the journey map. You can see, yep, we are absolutely caning through this desert and making tons of progress. But what we want to do right now is find some water, and there is some over in that direction, where I was actually working earlier on. And you see all of this shallow water over here. I think what we're going to do is just fill that in and create a border just over there where the next biome will be. But anyway, the reason that I'm looking for little pools of water like this is because there is a pet that is extremely useful. It is the sponge pet. And does it say it right here? Walk on water, it does. So I discovered that the hard way. Now, why are you not letting me walk on water? It's because the lily pads have gone out of my inventory. Okay, that guy's chowed down on some lily pads. So as I was saying, you can walk on water. And this really confused me earlier because I was trying to get into the water and I couldn't because I was holding the sponge. Does it work when it's just in your inventory? Yeah, you just got to have it in there to walk on water. Anyway, you can place water by right-clicking. That's pretty cool. Place it on top of other. And then if you hold down Shift, you can remove it all. And it does it in such a large area as well. That is so much easier. Do you know what? We've been clearing out this river over here using that thing. I've forgotten the name of it. You probably remember it. It required lava for fuel. And I'm wondering, is it going to be easier to do this? Oh, that is a lot. That's seriously a lot. Okay, we're doing this right now, I tell you. Is this thing gobbling up loads of lily pads? He's not. This is very cheap and effective, is it not? Okay, wow. How much further do I want to go? I feel I can get away with a fair bit here. I did not expect to be making that kind of progress in the beginning of this bit, and all the squiddies are dying. Well, it makes our squid farm more efficient, but that thing don't drop no loot bags, so I don't really know when we're ever going to use that. Now, this stuff only works on water. I tried it on this mud, or whatever it's called, which we just got caught in. And yeah, that's what I've been doing in this area. There's a few more bits of water that I'm going to clear out, and when we're done with that, we're going to focus on some building over at our fortress. So I've just discovered that our loot bag system over here has backed up again, and there are some items stuck in the droppers. Now it's weird because I've added this item over and over again, and now I understand why. Some of these items can't be recycled, so we're going to need to create a second setup here I can hear that noise, to deal with this, right? And there's probably one or two, there you go, that one's blocked up. So things like this aren't exporting, and the whole system got backed up, and now there's loads of these. I'll come back here and fix that, because we're going to go check out some of the building that I've been doing around here. Just trying to get a design idea together, and finally I found the one that I want to go with, okay? We're going to check these out one by one in the order that I made them. So over here I was trying to get it so that we would have these sort of ridges going down to add some depth, and what I'd come in and do with chisel and bits is turn these into stairs, you know, and kind of looked alright. Didn't really feel these edges very much, so I moved on to the next wall and decided to try something else over here. And it's kind of similar. Again, we're going to use some stairs to chisel away these bits, and it would have a bit more shape about it. Also up here, I think I was planning on chiseling away those bits. But again, nothing very special, and kind of very similar to the other one. Also, working in these colours, something that I wanted to do, which we're not going to do in the final design, and I think that's a good thing. So, over here, again, stairs are going to be a key feature of all of this. I was going to chisel away a few bits on here to give it some more shape, and on the top there as well. And then we could also include these things as well. Although I figured that it kind of looks flat, and then something's just sticking off the front of it, which I wasn't so sure about. So then I thought, well, we could push it back like that, and again, just didn't really scream like it was a proper wall at me, and I tried different textures here. So I kind of went back to the drawing board and thought about what walls and such look like, and then I came up with this, which really feels like the right way to go. I feel like you could see this on the inside or the outside of the building, which is a nice touch. And we're going to build it at this level right here, and probably end up building some sort of structure that just comes out and goes straight down below it as well to fill in the space. So I like this. It's got some arches, and it's quite simple, and yet it's got some depth. What it doesn't have is a lot of colour, and I don't feel like you can just throw this texture in there. Although now that I say it, I want to try and replace that with it. Here's the thing. I've accidentally vein mined this a couple of times. So if we grab that texture, which I don't actually have. Okay, I've tested it. We'll be fine to do this. Bam! Still felt a little bit nervous doing that. Like I said, I've vein mined this whole thing away a couple of times and had to rebuild it, so very cautious now when using that. Can we bring our brownstone colour into the build here? Maybe not with that texture, but actually that kind of works. And maybe what we can do is have the darker stuff at the bottom and the lighter stuff at the top. Ooh, I feel like maybe that's the direction we can go in. Now, when it comes to building this, because what I'm going to do is build an entire section in one go so we can step back and look at it. I've got a little bit of a plan, and that is to use the cobblestone weathered bricks and also the regular bricks, which I happen to not have. So I'm going to build the shape out of that and, you know, place down the blocks and alternate them so we get this texture interspersed with that one. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go around and just whack the occasional block like that, and it will take it to the broken one. So it will give a little bit of a ruined look to this. I'm also considering throwing some mossy stone bricks in there as well, and I also kind of want to put some leaves hanging off of this thing to make it look a little overgrown after. So we got a long way. This is just like the blueprint for now. That is mighty fine, my friends, mighty fine. And I was thinking, we're done. We're not going to do too much more here. You know, I want to let that settle for a while. Then we've got to figure out how this is going to wrap around the corner, because it doesn't actually line up with the corner. Do you know what? I might have made a mistake here. If I'd have built this all over by 2 blocks, there would have been room for one more section, which would have lined up perfectly with that bit over there. But it doesn't matter, because we can always change the size of this thing as we go along. So I'm going to let it settle, but I've just sort of realised that I've first of all missed something quite important down here, which was to add some stair shapes going like this. That's how those are going to go. I was thinking, though, I might actually do the next bit in as well. So that would be a regular shape, and then we could also do that. I think it's a bit much when you go back there, so we'll undo that one. No thanks. What do you mean, not close? Oh, now I understand. Yeah, you have to be in range of where you... Oops, made the changes, and now I'm just making all sorts of mess. So, as well as that, I haven't actually gone around and done the other thing that I said I would, which was to smack a block here and there and get it all cracked up. Sounds so strange. And there was some particle effects coming from somewhere over there. Anyway, you'll notice these walls have some variations in texture as well. Decided what I would do is connect these ones up diagonally, but they'd always sort of be their own random pattern, and down here it's diagonal as well. I think they're always diagonally linked to one another, so you get this vague sense of pattern going on. Now, before we're done, what I want to do is go down to the bottom here and work on the base, because it's just open, it goes straight into the wastelands. We want something that goes straight down and anchors it into the ground. And then also I need to get some greenery up in here, maybe some leaf blocks, maybe some mossy cobblestone as well. So the first phase of this episode was to get part of this up and running, and I think we've set ourselves an amazing blueprint for what's to come. This place is going to look awesome, and I'm very happy with this. Again, the leaf placement, I'm always trying to learn with this. I feel like when they come over the front, it just don't quite look right. And it got me wondering if perhaps chiseling this might be a good idea. That was really weird. Let's undo that. What's this thing set to? It should be set to that. Okay, it was set to something different. Now if I bring it over like that, oh, that's so much nicer. It just doesn't... Yes, okay, wow. We're going to go with that. And then I can also... Oh, hello. Let's undo that one. Not quite. Maybe just not at the front there, but yes. Oh, and we need to be in range. But yes, the amount of detail we can go for here is very interesting. I'm going to have to learn about that as we go along. So, two different types of leaves. We'll come back here at some point and refine this in live streams. I'll probably be building this design over in the other spaces, and down the bottom here you can see I've thrown in some cobblestone walls. They feel like they're anchoring it into the ground, and that's been extended down, and the whole thing just looking great. Now, one thing I will mention is that this could do with being over by 2 blocks. Didn't I already talk about that actually? I'm looking into a mod that can bring this over a little bit, because I've got a feeling it'll be easier to wrap this design around this if we are able to shift all of these blocks, which might be possible with the mods. So that's that done, and we're going to move on to something else. I don't know what it'll be yet. One thing I wanted to mention, I've got 197 levels on me. And what's happened to my what's happened to my eyes? So I've got 197 levels of XP. I'm not sure how I obtained them. Oh, do you know what it is? Those things that we were clearing out earlier, I somehow managed to put them on my eyes. Well, okay then. I'm going to leave them there. I have a plan of action right now, but first of all we must detour into the wastelands and look at the void fog, making it look spooky and creepy. Now I'll tell you, some block artists will probably be really good at doing this. I am not. This is an attempt at a hand. It's got a wonky looking thumb on the side and then these fingers, and I don't know. From a distance it's a little more passable, closer up not so great, but I do love the way it goes down into the ground. Just placed a whole bunch of stone down there. And I love that. It kind of does look like a hand reaching out from some particular angles. So maybe we'll come back and revise that at a later time. But I love the idea of leaving little mementos out in the place. So the cactus will be another one. And I don't know what else we'd do, but we've got to find a reason to leave little mementos behind. But anyway, what we're going to do right now is check out our storage system, because we need to make a big change here to avoid having problems with our power. Power problems mostly now come down to this thing over here filling up. If we have a look at this thing, you can see it stores 1.2 million items in total, and it is pretty full up. It is crazy full up. Now, there are these things called storage disks that we want to store all the items on, and the biggest one we can get is 64k. So if we were to times that by 10, it would be half the amount of this, so 20 I think in total is what we'd need to manage all of these items. And I don't think we're even going to need 20 in total, because there's a lot of the same items here repeating over and over again, and what we want to do is get those items into, if I could go back over here, we want to get them into these drawers over here. The reason why is because they can have these void upgrades, which means when we're farming stuff, it'll never really back up too much because it will void the items that we farm a lot of. Now, the reason we need these discs is because it's going to make it much easier to use disk manipulators and drag out all of those items into those drawers as we add them. As of right now, a lot of stuff is split between being stored in here and being stored over there as well. So what's really cool is that we are actually getting some of these things from our loot bags, right? These storage discs, and if we go over here and look at the recipe for them, you'll see that each of these parts are made out of the other parts all the way down to the 1K one. So we've been automating a lot of this other stuff like basic processors and the quartz enriched iron. If you haven't seen it before, just below me on these sides over here we've got automatic crafting. This one does the quartz iron. Over here we automatically smelt various different types of ingots, and somewhere around here there's also, yeah, it'll be this one, the soldering, for creating all the different parts. So we can now automate the creation of those discs, and like I said, I don't think we're going to need more than 20 of them in total. So that's one thing we're doing. Also, I want to hop over here to the loot bag system. It was backed up earlier, as I showed you, and now it's not backed up. You can see that these loot bags here are very low. But the cool thing is, as we farm them back in, they're steadily going to go back up to 1,000 as they auto-craft themselves to this level, right? So when we've got 1,000 of those there, it just means these are going to stock up. Very cool stuff. But I want to show you the items that are in the system, the inventory pets, which I had up on the screen a moment ago. You can see there's quite a sizable amount of these over on the side here, and I don't know if we've gotten all of them yet, but we have got a fair few. There's one that I think is a clear sign that we don't have all of them yet, which is this one right here, the Illuminati Pet. I believe that is supposed to be the rarest of all of them, and Rendog actually has one. So once I see that pop up in here, that's when I'm going to start paying attention to all of these and figuring out if we gathered them all yet. But I do want to make a little bit of an adjustment here. I'm going to start voiding all of these. I don't know if we'll ever get round to using them. I've got a ridiculous amount. I'm going to take all of these out, chuck them into the other system where there's already like a stack of each anyway, and then void the rest. And then we can move all of these thermal foundation ingots over as well. And they're just going to go into those drawer shelves like I showed you a moment ago. So we're about to do a whole bunch of stuff for our storage system. I'm going to start off with crafting those storage discs. Now this is interesting. Very interesting. Okay, what is this thing going to do next? It just put all of the discs in there into that disk drive. Nothing. Fascinating. Okay, so I put some disk drives in here, and then I thought, oh wait a minute, we can't use exporters like this. How are we going to get the items out of our chest into these disk drives? And then I decided to use Ender IO, and this thing started filling up. Yeah, that number's slowly going up. Over on this side though, it extracted the other discs I had in storage and then put them in here, and now it's doing nothing after that, which is kind of odd. So I'm going to turn that thing off. That was probably the wrong way to do that. Can I click on that side? No, I need the wrench now. Well, anyway, I decided to go with 16K storage discs. The reason why is because they would fill up more of these disk drives, and I actually want to make a room with them and have a lot of them to look at, which will look more interesting overall, I think. So we need this thing to be on insert mode. Let's see what it does now. Are you filling up? No. That was very odd then. I'll come back to that. I want to show you something. It's something that Iskall did that I just thought was so cool. I loved it so much that I just want to have it in my base as well. He came up with like a storage room, right? With loads of cool fans and stuff. And sorry, a storage room, like a server room, like computer servers, because that's what this looks like. So in front of here, we've got a Malasis door, and when you click on it, you can access these. And this just feels super high-tech and super cool, and we're so going to have a room like that in this place eventually. But right now, this is where our discs are going to go. So we're going to fill them up down the bottom there, then we're going to move them over to this place, and then we can start manipulating the items into those storage drawers. So I'm setting up more drawers, and I'm thinking we're going to need a lot of emeralds to provide this thing with all of the upgrades. We only have, is it 15 blocks of emeralds? Also, I need to make another rack of those types somewhere as well. And we're running out of space, aren't we? Maybe I'll just put them in this back area here and it won't be a big deal. So there they are, emeralds, 15 blocks. Anyway, check this out. So what we have to do is whack a villager. I've already got one in the soul vial. I think this came through a loot bag. No, you instantly turned into one of those. That's kind of terrible. I'm going to whack you anyway. Okay, so do they drop emeralds? I mean, we could try it. We could put it in the mob controller and find out. And the other thing, did you see how it changed? We could try this again, and we click very, very quickly with our mob prism, and maybe then we're able to get a vanilla one and put that inside the mob controller as well. I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to stand like here, so hopefully we're looking into the hitbox of the villager as it's placed down. So as soon as I hold down right click, I'm going to press 7. So if we do that, nothing happens. Okay, you ready? That was too quick. Oh, it almost worked. I traded with them. I traded with them. I've got one more of this. I need to hold down shift as well. Does that work? Like, if I right click on you, I bring up the menu. If I hold down shift, oh, I've got a feeling it might not be wait a minute, I was right clicking. I'm an idiot. I'm supposed to left click. Oh, what a derp. I'm so fearful of getting this wrong now. Okay, so we're gonna right click, press 7, left click. Oh, we so just did that. We so just did it. Oh, that was seriously cool. Look, it's programmed to a regular villager. Huh. Well, one day we'll find out what you drop, but as of right now, we're going to go farm some villagers for some emeralds. I get too ahead of myself sometimes. Of course, it's a modded thing that the villagers can give you emeralds, but that's only when you put them in a tinker's smeltery, and that way it's kind of slow, so there's no quick path to getting more emeralds. And I'm sorry, oh, you hit me back. I wasn't expecting that. I need to find out if you drop anything. It looks like that I'm a filthy village murderer at the moment. Oh god, okay, so they don't drop emeralds either. Well, that leaves us with one option at the moment, which is to go and find an extreme hills biome and then put the quarry on overdrive, and then maybe we'll have some emeralds trickle in. But other than that, we're going to only be able to use what I've got in the storage for now. Smart idea, very smart idea. Where are we? Hey, we're actually in the Crag Rock biome right next to our base. Just dug down to see if there are any emeralds in this biome. I read that there would be online, so I thought I'd come check first. Okay, so we can mine the crag biome, we will get emeralds from that as well. We are not getting emeralds fast enough, but I've made a lot of upgrades and they're now all in this system which has been connected up, and the important thing here is that these have priority over everything else. Now we're going to have to run what I'm about to show you a couple of times in our lifespan, because I still need to go around and fill all these up with different items that we want to store there, but we are taking the items out of our colossal storage, and I've made a big boo-boo. I've been a silly goose and I don't like where that creeper is. Get away. You know what, you can go down there. Yes, I left these drives here connected, which was not what I wanted to do. But anyway, we are importing using these stack upgrades and speed upgrades. And it's this trick right here that we can run over and over again whenever we want to push those items into our other storage drawers. So if I scroll up a little bit here, you can see it doing its magic and moving all of the items into the disk drives, right? And some of those disk drives just happen to be there. Now let's quickly teleport before that creeper gets me. The disk drives I want it to go to are these ones over here. So in the future what we can do is disconnect these, then we can import stuff from the disks back into the system, and that would put them into the drawers. Clever little trick. And it's a way for us to reduce the amount of clutter in the storage system. But enough of storage, we're done with that for now. We're going to be moving on. I just quickly want to show you that the loot bag project, I believe, is now pretty much finished. I think there might be just one or two more items that I need to find out what they do before I decide to scrap them. But otherwise, the only things that are left in here now are our loot bags and our inventory pets. And everything else gets sorted out, which is just fantastic. Good news, we're ready to move forward with a new project. Well, actually, it's kind of an old project, but I'm loving this. The lights are constantly blinking. The items are getting shuffled around because there's so much that goes through our system. And that's going to look great when that's in its own room. I'm really glad we decided to do 16K discs. If anything, I'm now starting to think maybe we should put them on smaller discs, but that would be kind of crazy, you know, the more lights the better. Anyway, this thing has decided to let me teleport over to it, which is great. And as we go down here, I'm going to talk about a project which I know we're not really going to finish in this episode, but we're going to start, and you guys are going to help me as well, because there's a fair bit of logic that goes into this, and I've thought about it a lot, and I think I've covered some aspects of what we're doing, although I was about to explain it in the wrong order. The best way to start is with the blocks that I've inconveniently left behind. So we have the mechanical user and the mechanical miner. These blocks are going to be placed either side of the mob controller that's in the middle, and then we're probably going to end up with some crazy cables going up into the ceiling above, where we're going to hide some sort of redstone contraption. It's going to use our refined storage system and a whole lot of other stuff. So this mechanical user can place a block, and I haven't configured it, but let's say we've got this mob controller right there. Do I have to change this? I've completely forgotten. Aha. Oh, and then that one broke it. So it can place and it can break. That's terrific. Do you know what we're going to do with this system? we're going to change what block is being placed over here. So we can remotely say, we don't want to do villagers. Also, this thing's been running for some time, hasn't it? And it's not getting us anything at all. We don't want to do villagers, we want to do something else. Okay, and then these blocks can help us achieve that. Let's see it one more time because it's amazing. So this one will place the block we want, and that one will break the one that we don't want. So actually that would happen in the other order. The block would be here, this one would break it, and then that one would place a new one. Now the interface for this is going to require us selecting something. I'm going to use basic vanilla Minecraft redstone here because that's how my brain works. I don't know about all the stuff in the mod pack, and I'm sure some of you will be able to tell me, oh actually there's this really cool thing that you want to use for what you're doing, and that's why we're not really going to do the whole thing or much of it at all in one episode. But I'm going to show you my thoughts to how I think this might work. So the reason that we have buttons set up like this is so that we can have... By the way, this comparator doesn't work with those two blocks. That's what I was checking. But we can split our signal in two different directions. Now, whatever button we press, it's going to activate this redstone right here. That one should activate the mechanical miner. That stuff's really simple. Whenever you make a selection, it's going to go in there and it's going to break the block. Now, with a slight delay, because we want the block to break first. Wow, my words are getting all messed up in my head. With a delay, we can then tell the system what we want to send to here. And here's where things get tricky. I think what we're going to require is some sort of chest with a whole bunch of exporters pointing into it. And the thing is, we're going to need one exporter for every option. So it may end up being more than one chest, an array of chests or something like that. And then we'd have an Ender IO conduit that automatically sends it down to this thing. So our redstone signal that needs to go over here can be coming down from the ceiling, and so can this over here. And this one I don't think would need a redstone signal to control it, because this block would be broken, the item would end up in here, and it would place it. So those cables can go up to the ceiling. This one would also have an item conduit to take the item out of there and back into our system. Yes, anyway, getting a little bit sidetracked. So we would then take the redstone signal from our array, and we would tell which exporter that it can export when there's a redstone signal. I.e., we've pressed the button, then it goes, I know that I'm sending this thing into this chest, and then it does that. It sends it down here, and this one places it. And of course, because of the way we set this up, that one will break first. Now that I've explained it out loud, it really feels like actually all of that's possible right now, and I've certainly got time on the clock to do this today. So I think we'll give it a fair shot, and then you guys can leave loads of comments telling me how I'm a dummy, and there's a much easier way to do it with another mod even, right? So we are almost there. Do you remember that line of redstone that I showed you earlier with the buttons? That's going to be in our base, and that's going to be hooked up to these transmitters. And I realised that we need another transmitter as well, because that line of redstone that goes underneath needs to get over here. So there's our conduits and our redstone signal going up there. This has all been configured to place and break the blocks in order, and then things get a little cramped up here, and maybe I should have built it a little bit higher, but I didn't want these conduits to be too long, so we're going to raise the roof down there a little bit just to hide this. So on this side we have our item coming back into the system through this item Ender IO conduit, and then it gets imported there. That thing is currently not hooked up. Up the top here we got our receivers, which are going to send a signal into the exporters, which only work with a signal. They will dump the item into this dropper, because there'll only be one of them in the system. This thing will be on extract mode. That should actually be active without signal, or always active is the one I thought I selected. You see it's on that one by default, and I could have swore I clicked all of these once, but apparently I've done it wrong. And now that I'm talking, no, I got that one correct. And I think that's all of it right there. I think I've shown you everything. So I guess the next step will be to turn this thing on, and then we need to hook up another receiver to that and build our panel back at our base. Alright, here we go. So 7 is the Wither, and 8, which happens to be over here, is the Snow Golem, and we're giving this a test for the first time. Now remember how I talked about how this one needed to be activated first? I believe that might not actually be the case. And it's kind of weird that this thing's over here and that we don't get to stand next to it and see that it works, like, you know, in action. And that's really disappointing. That should have worked. Oh no! And it's kind of hard to diagnose now, because this thing is set to export that. I don't have it in my inventory. It is in refined storage. This thing is hooked up and it didn't export it into there, did it? Or it did and something's happened at some point. Maybe this thing actually mined it after it placed it. Oh yeah, that's why we needed the delay. Huh, so in my mind there was already a block there. Well actually, if there's already a block here, then this thing will receive the item. Okay, right, yeah. Then it will break it a moment later, and then it can place the item. We need to go over here. So we're going to try that again. So the delay is still probably a good idea. We're going to go back, and we should see that the wither is in place. We might even see something break. Okay, so it broke the block, which means the signal got down here. But this thing never received the item. So I don't know why. I mean, that's going to receive, it's going to send the redstone signal here. This will only work with it. And I'm not sure how to start diagnosing that now. That's really unfortunate, isn't it? That's definitely on insert mode. This is definitely on extract mode. Well, I'm going to have to poke around with that a bit and figure it out. I want to share with you one final idea over here, which was that we could also hook this button up to a T flip-flop. So when it works reliably, then what we can have it do is, well, not a T flip-flop actually, or maybe yes, I'm not sure. There'd be a redstone lamp to tell you which one is currently on, right? So when you press the button, it will turn off and turn another one on, something like that. I don't know. And I'm going to take the time to try and figure out why this one isn't quite working. I'm not sure how to go about diagnosing it at the moment because it all looks like it's been built correctly. But anyway, that's it from me this episode of FoolCraft. I do hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, leave a like on the video. As always, thank you so much for your wonderful support. I hope you're enjoying the series, and I hope that you're excited for this project right here because I feel like this new design is going in a much better direction than ever before. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.